everybody, and welcome to a special episode of Radiorama. And today we have a Clarion model. What is it? Fuck. I'm glad I didn't just open that. That would have spilled everywhere. Doesn't have a model number. Probably the back's missing. Anyway, this came in. There was a woman who dropped it off. And she said that when they were kids, this was the radio that they listened to. And so it's had a rough life. It's got a pretty serious crack here. It's got a chunk missing out of the back. But you know, like, the sentimental value always trumps financial value. So I'm going to restore it, maybe clean it up a little bit, but I'm going to leave it just like it is. And it's just going to be a straight up AM radio restoration, so the AM radio will work again. Don't know if it works or not. I didn't ask her how long it had been since it's been plugged in. Usually on hot or floating chassis sets, I will just, put them on the line and immediately turn them on. But because this is a heirloom, I want to make sure of its health before I do that. So I'm going to put it on my metered variac. See how much it draws. These shouldn't draw that much, but if it starts drawing a lot, then you know you got a serious problem and you need to discontinue. All right, so it's on. Turn this all the way down and put it on my 0 to 2 amp setting. Power up, and if you've got a bad short, you'll know right away. Well, actually, it does not seem to be. Wait a minute. You know what? This outlet on this side seems to be a little bit wiggly. I'll plug it in the other one. All right. Well, nobody seems to be home. It's not drawing anything. It's at 50 volts. So we should be getting something. We look in the back, see if there's any. There's no tubes glowing. Yeah, it's not drawing anything, and it's not. Let's go ahead and bring it up to 110 volts. Oh wait, we do have glowing tubes. Crap, let me turn it down. Let me check the draw. Okay, it's not drawing much. That's good.
Later, it's either a really great situation and he just...
Action to resolve the border crisis, he says.
To 12th grade have a...
Go as far as we need to go.
Holy crap, it works fine. So this is just going to be a general recap job. In fact, if any of you guys have watched these episodes where I recap radios, that's all it's going to be. No audio input, no restoration of the cabinet, other than I'm going to stabilize this with some glue. But yeah, this is off to a good start. All right, so it's obviously not been out of the cabinet in a very long time. That is definitely decades old dust. And I can't tell. I think someone's been in here. I don't think that's the original electrolytic capacitor. I think this is probably a 50s, maybe even 60s, because I don't. It's one of those Solar or Planet. Yeah, it's a Planet brand electrolytic, and I feel like those are later. Could be totally wrong. I'm not even sure what era this radio is. I would guess definitely after the war, so I'm guessing 46, 47, maybe even 49. We have, wow, this cap right here. That's the 2 ground cap. I just realized something about this. This is a hot chassis. This is a hot chassis. You can tell because one end of the line is going to chassis ground. So is all the leads. of the the negative leads of the electrolytics and the across the line cap. The across the line is burst open. I'm amazed it worked as well as it did. Anyway, let me I'm gonna call the owner, make sure they're okay with this. All right, so I talked to the owner. They're perfectly okay with the idea that they just need not take the knobs off and touch the shafts, or reach their hands inside the cabinet and touch the metal. So first thing to do is replace these guys, which are the electrolytics. And let's see, there's two values, 15 and 30 microfarad. And there's actually more than that. It says it was yellow. Oh, I see. They have different colors for the negatives. Wait a minute. All right, never mind. Red, yellow, black. Black is common, negative. Duh. So replace those three values with three teeny tiny modern ones. And this is pretty straightforward. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 paper capacitors of all various values. This is 0.01 rated microfarad. This is 0.004. This is, so I got to get the wax off of there. What is that? 0.01 and 0.05. Let's see. That's the across the line cap. We need to replace that with an actual across the line cap, because otherwise I do that. They blow up. You see how it's like sprayed its innards against that? So that's a hazard. You definitely need to replace that with the correct one. Put a line cap in. So let me do that. I'm not going to film everything on this episode because it's so basic and simple. I'm also doing it because I want the owner to have something to watch so they can see how this is done. All right, so this was pretty straightforward. All new capacitors. Here's our safety cap. Here's the old safety cap. You can see just like it shorted out and then it spewed out of that hole. Anyway, it's X2Y2 across the line cap. The black things are our new electrolytics, and the yellow things are all of our replacement paper caps. And to test it, but before I do, I'm going to clean out the volume control. Shit, I just dropped my WD-40. Anyway, I also need to get a new pilot light because one end is burned out. Then we're going to bring it up on my isolated transformer because, again, it's a hot chassis. Okay, we're bringing it up. Nothing blew up, which is good.
Actually, I'm on a scooter when I come down here, so it is kind of all of those things. But here we are, focused on pass rushers with some of the new regulations.
May increase your stroke risk. Calling because total.
Same here as that bulb look really bright. What is this up to? It's 110 volts. Why is that? Hey, that seems really bright. That usually indicates you've got a short or a gassy rectifier tube. So let me replace that tube. I think they might have had the wrong pilot light in there. It was a 47. I put a 44 in there. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with the rectifier tube. This is breaking down a little bit, I think, because we changed out the 0.05 rated cap with a 0.01 rated cap. So I'm probably got a second safety cap over the top of that, so the audio won't break down as badly. It's just on the verge. It's not bad. It's very sensitive, actually. He says. Oh, I'm at the other end of the dial. No wonder.
7 million encounters at the border.
Worse, because the wait for yet
Put it to Sergeant William Rivers.
It's sensitive, but like that's a problem. Welcome to day 2, working on the I can't remember what this brand is, Clarion, and I soldered a second safety cap over the top of the first, and the idea is that that'll probably get rid of a little bit of the AC hum that was getting through the audio. It really wasn't that bad, but you know, I wanted it to be as good as it possibly could be for good old-fashioned, reliable radio service. So let's plug it out again to see what it does.
Gigantic Eucharistic host
All right, it seems like it's working pretty good now. I got rid of a lot of that nasty hash.
The statue of the Blessed Virgin.
My first assignment was to drive the lady who lived up. Is the Kansas City Chiefs bench going to react?
Association is the collective voice of African American physicians.
Driving is what's really...
I think that my reception's being affected a little bit. We got some pretty severe atmospheric weather going on out there, but nevertheless, I'm also going to test the tubes. I might as well. I think the radio is pretty healthy, but again, you know, if you got a weak tube, you should go ahead and replace it. It'll just improve in performance overall. Well, I'm glad I checked that. The 12SQ7 actually had a very slight short, even though it tested good. Now it's much more sensitive, much cleaner.
Very easily with family and friends. So yeah, movie's about to...
Survive this on culture. I'm John.
25 again. Say. Can't enjoy your Wednesday.
All right, now, oh yeah, one thing I did that you don't have to do, but I just did anyway, I like cleaning up the chassis and the tube sockets and the tubes. Now what I need to do is oil. There's a few bearings that are associated with the tuning condenser here. And likewise what you want to do is get a little oil on the tuning shaft, but stay away from the string. What that should do is make this a lot easier to turn. You just work it back and forth a whole bunch. Yep, it already feels much nicer. And what we'll likewise want to do is just put a little bit on the volume control shaft. Just work that in there. And that'll feel a lot nicer. Just little tiny things like that is what kind of makes using the radio just a little more tactile feeling.
One, you want to know them, but you also
Can't resist this.
क्या होता है किस मटेरियल से बनता है कितना बड़ा होता है मुझे तो दूर से कैरम बोर्ड का स्ट्राइक.
All right, the electronic part of the radio is now done. Now it's time to move on to the plastic damaged case. All right, here we go with the case. It's probably easier to see where the cracks are from the inside. Wow, it's amazing this radio hasn't come apart yet. There's a crack that goes all the way up here through there. It's coming loose. We've also got a crack here. This case is in really bad shape. What I'm gonna do is take it over to the sink and wash out all the cobwebs and stuff. Then take the hair dryer and dry up everything because we need nice, clean, easy to see cracks to inject glue in. Okay, so I did take it over to the sink and hose it out real good. Notice I'm not really cleaning it, and I'm not going to repaint it. I'm not going to, I'm going to keep it cosmetically the same. Sometimes we get people that come in and they're like, I want it just the way I remember it. And it's important because, think if this was your childhood radio, your parents owned it or something. Every little scratch, every little ding and crack, that probably has a little memory attached to it. Maybe not the most amazing memory, like I'm sure when this radio got dropped, no one was like, wowee, but it happened. Trust me, like I remember when I was a kid, my grandmother had this ukulele that she got from Hawaii like many years ago, and it was bashed to bits, and it was held together with electrical tape, but I remember it. It's a memory. So I'm gonna use my hair dryer here to dry this out real good, and then we're going to get some Gorilla super glue and some other little tricks up my sleeve to show you how we can stabilize this. Okay, so I glued everything, and what I also did, and here's my little trick, is get some metal tape, run it along the crack, and make sure and rub your hands under it, and it'll make sure and press all that glue up into the crack. The other thing I did is I used the hair dryer to kind of make sure it's set. So it's going to be a lot more stable. It's not going to crack anymore. So that's good. Let me put the thing back in its cabinet, and then it'll be ready to test to make sure she's all good and be ready to go. Okay, so she works.
Accounts of your own peril. I think the key.
What's up?
Blinding? But if you're looking at that circumstance in the awareness that the Lord is with
You don't think that inherent
Atención, señor propietario.
Haven't done more to protect children from sexual.
Gospel, hosted by Henry.
young first-time head coach who honestly uses, he doesn't use cover 3, cover 6 as
Before it cuts rates. And that's the regular season. It's not
You can't really ask more of it. It's an AM radio. It picks up AM radio stations, and it works exactly as it did back when it was made, when it was new. And yeah, it's a little worn for the wear. Hope it makes the owner happy. Hope it brings back lots of good memories, and hopefully it'll serve them for many more years, because it's electrically in very good, nice, clean condition now. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching, and until the next time something comes across my workbench, I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.